should the U.S. get involved in Israel's war against Iran. 88% said no. I can't imagine you're surprised by that, though, Josh. So as someone who's in Israel and cares about Israel but is also an American, walk me through your reaction to that and how you think this plays out politically.
Yeah, Charlie, I don't think the U.S. really has to get involved. I have never once actually in my entire commentary career called for the U.S. to directly get involved in military or kinetic action against Iran because, frankly, it's not my stance. I thought that the first Trump era maximum pressure's economic campaign was very successful there. And then beyond economic pressure and placing crippling sanctions on the oil and natural gas exports to the Chinese Communist Party above all there, I've always thought that Israel could take the military end of the bargain and do what needs to be done. All of it essentially is needed from the United States is to cast the various vetoes at the UN National Security Council and things like that there. But Charlie, I would suggest that another way to view it actually is this way. Iran obviously is an existential threat to Israel. It is a major threat to other countries, but it is a larger threat to Israel. And I think it would be sloppy analysis to try to needlessly conflate the degree of the threat to Israel to others there. It is a threat to the United States, but not the exact same threat. Having said that, it is a threat. Iran definitely does have American blood on its hands for 46 years, going back to the hostage crisis that launched the regime and ended the Jimmy Carter presidency, going back to the 241 U.S. Marines slaughtered at the Marine barracks in Beirut, Lebanon, from Hezbollah, the top Iranian proxy, the 500 to 600 American soldiers killed by Qasem Soleimani-supplied IEDs on the roadside of Al-Anbar and Fallujah during the Petraeus counterinsurgency during the Bush administration, and on and on and on we go there. So I think another way of viewing this is as follows, which is that Israel is acting as a good ally should act in securing not just its own national interest, it happens to be an existential interest in this case there, but also then ultimately conducing to the enhanced and greater safety and security of the United States, of our European allies, and so forth and so forth there. The United States, Charlie, today and for the foreseeable future, is a safer and more secure place because of what Israel is doing inside of Iran. This is a very, very key point there. Again, this was needed for Israel. Israel is acting as any sovereign nation state would do in its own national interest here. But the key thing, and I made this point at great length in my book, Israel and Civilization, but the key thing here is that when it comes to the Middle East, and this is kind of what you expect of an ally from a nationalist, realist foreign policy paradigm, the key thing is that Israel's national interest in this region is overwhelmingly Venn diagram overlapped with the American region. The degrees may actually vary for sure. I will happily and readily concede that there. But again, America is a safer and more secure place today from Israel simply doing this. In fact, America in many ways is benefiting, frankly, on the cheap because we're not actually sending in any kind of troops. And no one is calling for that, by the way. No one is seriously, literally, I haven't found a single person who's actually calling for that there. So as long as it remains on the cheap, I think America looks quite good, actually.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.